There we go.
Do you feel like you need the light?
I don't know. Do you want me to turn it off?
Well, it's presenting a nice glow around the book, which is kind of cool.
That's kind of cool now. But if you want me to turn it off, I can turn it off.
I think it's great. Your book is backlit, which is awesome.
It's the professional lighting. I pay a lot for a lighting director to come in, aka
and
me.
You're talking to a professional photographer, so you're all set. We're gonna take care of you. Oh my goodness, Paula, I am so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for doing this for me and with me.
My pleasure. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. This is fun. We're gonna have a good time. I've got my fountain drink. I'm ready to go.
Great. And I have my new Love That For You mug. So if I right? Here's the thing about me, Paula.
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Fallon in The Tonight Show. And one thing that he always has on his table is his mugs.
I love it. That's great. You know
follow.
what? I may have to steal that from you.
Do it.
That original idea of having a coffee mug with your show's name on it. Are you okay if I do?
Yes, Paula. And speaking of steal my idea, this is actually not the first time you have stolen one of my ideas. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh, no. Well, you obviously have good taste. Do I know? Can I claim naivete and ignorance if I stole your idea?
You know what? Here's the thing. You and I actually talked about it. I just don't know if you remember this conversation. But we for sure talked about it. This is me checking to make sure my mic is turned on before I tell this incredible story.
Okay, yes.
So, okay. LOL. Leave it to us. We talk about recording for 10 minutes before we must go. Okay. So, once upon a time, I hope you remember this, but if you don't, I will not shame you at all. We don't do that here on the show.
Okay.
2 years ago, maybe 3, I was out on the lake with my friends. And you were also out on the lake with your family, and your husband and your son were wakeboarding, and you posted a reel of them wakeboarding.
Okay, you reached out to me after that, didn't you?
Yes, I said, hey, no, we've never talked before. No, we don't know each other in real life. But here's the deal. That boat in the back left corner of your reel.
Was you.
That was me.
Okay,
I was on that boat.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a small world. I love it.
We'll have to share that reel after when this episode comes out. We'll have to reshare that.
Okay, good.
But that was
a couple years ago. Well, not on my part. That was my boys doing that. I can't. Are you kidding me? I can barely walk, let alone wake surf. So, yeah.
Yeah. Your videoing was excellent. So, 10 out of 10 for the video. But yes, your husband, for people listening that have no idea what we're talking about and have not seen it yet, your husband is literally wakeboarding with your son, who is maybe like 7 at the time?
Well, it's not wakeboarding, Morgan.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's wake surfing. So you're riding the surf. And the only reason I'm going to say that is because I make that mistake all the time. And my husband's like, it's not wakeboarding, it's wake surfing. So wake surfing, if you've ever seen people that are like, they look dangerously close to the boat and they're riding what looks to be a wave that the boat's creating, that's wake surfing. So you're essentially, the boat's creating this huge wave and you're surfing that wave. That's wake surfing. So my husband's wake surfing, and then he puts our son on his shoulders and is wake surfing. Yeah. It's crazy. And it got all these views. I had no idea. What's funny, Morgan, is I post that not even thinking about it. I'm not that type of person that's like, I post and expect anything to go viral, or I don't go back and check it. Okay. I'm not that type of person. And literally, it was just one of those. I probably had a drink or two. It was Father's Day, and I'm like, Father's Day post, shout out. And no editing. It was like a minute video of my husband getting up and then putting our son on his shoulders. Yeah. I post it, and then like 4 days later, we go to this restaurant because we live on a lake. We will go to this restaurant, a bunch of us, my family, extended family, some of my friends, and the waitress came up to my husband, and she's like, "Hey, I saw you do that trick with your son, and I was trying to do it. We've been trying to do it with our kid too." I'm like, "What is she talking about?" And my brother-in-law goes, "Didn't you post something about that?" And I go, "Oh yeah." And at that, so he's like, "Go check and see. Like, are people looking at it?" At that point, there were like 8 or 9 million views. It got up to like 17 or 18 million views. It was bananas. So
that's insane.
I don't know the algorithm.
Yeah,
All I
no
know
one
is
does.
that like it was one of the most shared videos on Facebook like for a week or two. So
Yeah.
and of course
Yeah.
people are like, that's fake. I'm like,
Yes. No, it's
yes.
not. There's nothing fake about it. He literally let the rope go and it was just surfing.
You were my witness. I should have interviewed you.
I was there. You should have missed
there.
opportunity. Paula, missed
that was
opportunity.
such a missed opportunity to corroborate the story.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. We're making up for lost time. But to bring that story full circle, where we had started this entire story was we were talking about it in the DMs as one does.
Yes.
And you said to me like, well, I could never do that. Like that's a next level of athleticism. And I said, well, you know what they say, if you can't tone it, tan it.
That's right.
And then you were like, 100% I'm stealing that from you, which I was like, great, it's not original to me, but you can have it. It's what I live my life by.
I like that. I am definite, but I'm also going to credit you for that. So is it stealing it from you if I give you full credit for it?
Absolutely not. But then the person who created it will just hope they never hear it. It never comes back to us.
I'm big about sourcing everything, even if I don't know this. I'm like, this isn't from me. So that's the journalist in me. It did. It came from somewhere for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Paula, speaking of you being a journalist, you have done so much. You are incredible. You've lived in several different places, and you are now in South Carolina.
Yes.
And being an incredible speaker, author, writer, all the things. And you have a brand new book out, and I want to talk all about it because I read it a few times because I loved it for a few reasons that I want to tell you about. But that last page, when I read the last page for the first time, I actually shed a tear. Like, it hit me. It was...
Are you serious?
Yes. Paula, for starters, your new book, Who Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up? It is an incredible children's book. And I mean, Paula, I don't want to steal your thunder. I could talk about your book for an hour, but I want you to explain it as well. But your new book, Who Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up? It's this whole philosophy of, let's maybe stop asking kids what they want to be and ask them who they want to be, because maybe character is more important than occupation and career. Yeah. And it meant so much to me for a couple different reasons. Before I share those, can you just share a little bit about this book? Why this book now? What was your process when you were writing this book?
Yes. Well, I'm so excited to shine a light on the message, like you said, of really asking, changing the narrative, asking a different question instead of what you want to do, who you want to be, what kind of person do you want to be. And all my proceeds are going to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, all my author proceeds, because I'm a trustee and I just believe in what they're doing and I love children. But really, like, the genesis of why I wrote this book is, I had my own identity crisis like 5 years ago when I changed careers and didn't know who I was outside of what I did. And it's that whole trap we get caught up in our American culture: accomplishment, achievement. What do you want to do? What's your name? You meet somebody in a room, Morgan, and it's like, hi, what's your name? And then the next question you ask is, what do you do? As if that's the only thing we bring to the table. And then so we've now passed that pressure to do and to succeed onto our kids. They're asked from the time they're little, what do you want to do? I mean, I can't tell you, everybody's back to school. And those little back to school signs, or these 7-year-olds say, when I grow up, I want to be a ... And I'm like, okay, that's great and all. And I'm not demonizing work because we have to work. But children, you are so much more than what you do, and your job's going to change. You know what matters more? Who you were uniquely created to be, your talents and gifts, the kind of person you want to be. So this is just like a little pushback on that question that that we ask one another as adults, and then we pass that pressure to do onto our kids. So it details the story, or details this little girl named Lina. It's her journey. It's career day at school, and she is kind of freaking out because she doesn't know what she wants to do, Morgan. And along the way, she realizes that who she wants to be, the kind of person she wants to be, how she was uniquely created and wired, that's more important than what she's going to do, because what she's going to do is going to change a lot throughout her life. But who she was created to be and the kind of person she was created to be, that's not going to change. So I'm just like, I'm so passionate about this message. And I think it's really up to us to start asking a different question, but also praising the right things in our kids. Like, even this weekend, my boys were doing something, and I was like, is that the kind of person you want to be? And they're like, no, Mom, it's not. Just like, and praising the right things. When my 9-year-old opened the door for me and a bunch of strangers at a gas station, honey, praising them publicly. That was so nice of you. Thank you for doing that. When they stand up for somebody at school, when, we're so used to praising the accomplishment and the achievement. Oh, you just, my kid's a superstar scholar, an athlete and an academic. Let's praise the right things in our kids, right? We talk all the time about character. We talk all the time about what matters most, but we're praising the wrong thing and we're asking the wrong question.
Right. Yeah, I think that's said perfectly. And going like back in the story, so Lina here, I mean, she's just a child. So first of all, that we're asking a child, like, what do you want to be? It's a fun question.
It is. It is.
You can see my cat over here in this chair.
You have a cat.
This is Cannon. I named him after my camera.
Hi, Cannon. How are you,
Cannon?
Cannon?
Because I have AirPods in. I'm so sorry. I will tell him that you said hello.
Cannon's a cat. So even if I was talking to Cannon, he'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah,
because that's what cats do.
Yep.
They don't care.
Yep. Exactly. Anyway, the fact that we're asking these kids, I mean, it is a fun question that we see on all the first day back to school boards. It's not, like you said, we're not demonizing that question, but beneath that, there is a more important question that I think we all know and we all see and we all believe. But how do we reframe that to being practical? And this book does exactly that, because when I know when I was a child, I think about this a lot, Paula. When I was a kid, I remember people asking me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I never knew. I never knew what I wanted to do, and it stressed me out. You know what I told people?
I bet, yeah.
I told people, I don't know, but I want to have fun. I just want to have fun. So I don't know if that tells you my Enneagram number, but I just want to have fun.
7. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You bring the fun.
I said, I want to have fun. I want to be with people, and I want people to be happy. And you know what I do now, Paula? I'm a photographer.
Right.
It's literally my job to tell someone to smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
You are with people and you make them happy and you have fun. It's perfect. And what's great about that too is, and hold on a second, you have Cannon, I have Addie, and Addie, my dog, is trying to get out of the room. So hold please, okay?
No, you're good.
This is
the real life of podcasting.
This is Addie, by the way, and I just took my microphone off. Okay, she's going to go outside.
You're precious.
Yeah, let's go outside. Hold please, okay? Just one second.
You're good.
Let's go outside. Let's go. Come on. Go. There we go. Okay, people, that's real life. That is real life right now. And I guarantee you in 5 minutes she's going to scratch on the door.
Yeah.
To want to get back in. Okay, so we were talking about, what was it, the practical ways we can implement this, or where were we going? Do you remember?
Yes. Oh, of just me being a photographer now and being with people.
Yes. Okay, so what's really great about that is once you deconstructed what you were good at and what you loved, Morgan, you realized you didn't have to do one thing with it. Like you can take your talents and gifts, the way you were uniquely created. You want to be with people. You want people to laugh. You want people to smile. You want to bring the fun. You can do that in photography. You literally can do that in so many different areas. So I feel like we're limiting ourselves so much when we say, what do you want to do? Like you have to do one thing. No, what I want to do with this conversation, not just like the kind of person you want to be, is really help guide and parents to ask the right questions, not just what kind of person you want to be, but also uncovering your child's unique talents and gifts, because we all have unique talents and gifts. You just mentioned yours, mine. My unique talents and gifts. I'm curious. My nickname was Paula 20 Questions. I was the most annoying child because I just asked.
That's incredible.
I always wanted to get to the bottom of things. I like to advocate and champion people. Okay, that made me a decent broadcaster, and now I've taken it into this new area where I'm really championing mothers and families, the work that I'm doing with Carrie Media. So I think once we start asking the right questions and really focusing on the kind of person we want to be, our unique talents and gifts, what we're good at and would love, what's important to us, it's very freeing, because we know our worth isn't in a job, but also we could try new things in new seasons. And then in each season, in each chapter, we don't have to figure out the next 20 years. It's a chapter at a time. In each chapter, we take that into it. So there's another chapter for you, Morgan. Your next chapter, what are you going to take into it? Your unique talents and gifts. Bringing the fun, bringing people together, getting them to light up, getting them to smile, right? And you could use that in photography. You can use that in this podcast, right? You can use that in so many different capacities. So I just think we're so limiting, and we're placing too much of our emphasis on a job, something that is going to change like 7 times in our life.
Right. Because that is something that is real life to you. You did not stick with one thing. And I think that there can be a tendency, I know for myself, before I did photography, I was a teacher for 5 years. And I know there was almost a tendency of, well, maybe I wasn't meant to be a teacher, and so that's why I'm doing something new now. Or maybe I was a failure at that and I need to go find something else to do. And that's not true. But I think when you don't have this message being poured into you, that is a lie you could believe. And even adults, I believe, could be living that, like believing that lie right now of, well, I don't find what I'm doing enjoyable, I guess I'm just not meant for anything. That's not true. Or, you know, I do like my job, but I also enjoy this. And so it's like, well, that's great. You can do both. And maybe it might just be a season. So maybe in this season, you stick with what you're doing and you're faithful in that. But like what you said, there is going to come a new season, and that's okay too. And you don't have to be Morgan the blank. You can enjoy and evolve and use your calling and who you are in multiple ways. Yeah. And I love that personally.
Yeah, so you're not just Morgan the photographer and podcaster. You're Morgan, the one who brings the fun, who loves to get people to smile, who loves to bring people together. That's who you are. So I'm not Paula, the former GMA anchor, or, you know, the author and podcaster. I'm Paula, the curious question asking champion advocate for people. I love to bring out the best in people. I love to help people. That's who I am. That's how I was uniquely created. My job doesn't define me. Motherhood doesn't define me. Nothing really defines me outside of I am a believer. That's where in Jesus, that's my ultimate identity. But I don't allow a lot of these other things to define me anymore, whereas I used to. And I really had a hard time separating myself from it, you know. And I think that finding that balance, Morgan, between loving what you do and being defined by what you do is also a really fine line, especially because we place so much emphasis. So I just hope that having this conversation, it just gets us to think like, let's ask a different question. And even in adult circles, instead of asking, what do you do? An alternate question we can ask is, hey, what are you into? Right? Instead of, so I would meet you, hey, Morgan, my name's Paula. What are you into? Instead of, what do you do? You know, because it's almost like this, it's like a default. We don't even realize that we're asking it. It's just like, what's your name? What do you do? And then we pass that on to our kids. And with our kids, again, what kind of person do you want to be when you grow up? And praising the right things and figuring out what they're good at, naturally good at, what they naturally love, and what's important to them. Really fostering those, asking those questions of your kids. So you don't have to be one thing and do one thing for the rest of your life, Morgan. I mean, you know what your unique talents and gifts are. And I think that's really cool. And I don't want to talk. I want to hear what you have to say about the book, because that's what's most important. As an author, you can write the message and you can want to get this out there, but it doesn't matter what you think. It's how it's received and perceived. So when you said that you shed a tear on the last page, like that's amazing. Thank you.
Well, I genuinely did. I would not lie about that. I feel like this book, while we need to purchase it for every kid and put it in every school, I also feel like every adult needs to buy it, because I almost feel like it's that inner child of us of like, hey, don't forget, this message is for you too. Of, you know, what are you doing? And who are you, you know, almost of like all of our jobs, if you think about it, we are fixing a problem, we're fixing something, we're serving somebody. Like every career, every job does something for a person or a product or whatever. So instead of thinking like, you know, for me, oh, I have a camera, I take pictures. No. I create these memories for families that they get to hold on for a lifetime. And, you know, I have had more times than I want to admit, people come to me and say, Morgan, a photo that you took that we didn't even, like, it was a nice photo, but, you know, so-and-so passed away. And now that photo is the last one that we have of them. And so that is what we look at every day. That's what we think of. That's how the laugh that you captured on their face, like, that is how we remember that person. Like, that is what I am doing. I am creating that memory for them. I'm helping them preserve their loved one. It's so much deeper. And everyone can think of that, no matter what your job is, no matter what you're doing, look deeper, because you are doing something that is affecting not only the world, but as a believer myself, I believe that what we are doing is kingdom work. It's not just going to last here on earth. It is eternal.
Preach.
And yes, and it's going to last, and it matters today what we're doing, because the work you do doesn't stop today. It has an eternal effect. And so I just think that this is the best message, and it's the sweetest book. The illustrations are beautiful in the book.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So can we brag on my illustrator? Her name is
Let's
Bhagya.
go.
And if you're looking at the name, and I was like, oh, how do I say her name? And so I was talking with her and my publisher, and I'm like, it's Bhagya Madana Singh. She has literally brought this message to life. When I was talking to my publisher and we were talking about the style, what we wanted it to look like, I was able to look at Bhagya's work and a couple of other illustrators, and her work, she just has such a way of capturing the message and presenting it with such light. She's done a beautiful job. She's from Sri Lanka, and it's so representative. I said, I really want this book to be representative of, all the different colors of the world, all the different colors of people. The little main character, Lina, I said, I want her to look Middle Eastern. My dad's from Lebanon. So it was like a nod to my Middle Eastern heritage. She looks like a little Middle Eastern girl, a Middle Eastern family. And even some of the roles where you see kids portrayed as, it's not that all the girls are teachers and nurses and the boys are doctors, it's very diverse in its representation too of what these kids are going to do one day as well. So she did such a great job. Bhagya Madana Singh, my illustrator, and I couldn't be more pleased with how she brought this message to light, quite literally.
Yeah, it is perfect. So your book, when this episode goes out, will be out into the world. So tell us where we can, I know it's crazy. Tell us where can we find it? Where can we follow you? Tell us where all the things are. Oh, and I will say really fast, I was just going through your website and looking at the book and everything too. And there is a free worksheet for this book.
There's a free downloadable. You don't even have to buy the book to get the free worksheet.
Well, you should also buy the book.
Well, you can, and I would love you to support the book, because all of my proceeds forever are going to go to the Boys and Girls Clubs. But there's a free downloadable worksheet. You can get it on my website, paulafarisofficial.com. There's a book section, and you just scroll down. It says download the free worksheet, and it will help guide your kids into these questions. What am I good at? What do I love? What's important to me? But yeah, you can get the book pretty much anywhere on Amazon. I'm so excited. It was like the #1 new release in kids books last week for a bit, and just excited to see this little book, just hopefully make a big impact for our kids, for adults, for the Boys and Girls Club. It's available pretty much anywhere, and you can keep up with me at Paula Faris on Instagram. I pretty much leave it all out there. So if you want to reach out to me, but thank you for supporting the message. And Morgan, I need you to write that review. What you said. I had a tear on the last page. I shed a tear on the last page. That's all you need to say right there.
I was eating Chick-fil-A's new pimento cheese with jalapeno, so maybe it was the jalapeno. I don't know, but it felt genuine and emotional. No, I'm just kidding.
That is amazing. It was a combination of like you're happy. It was like a happy tear and an epiphany tear. Yeah. So it was like,
that's so funny.
I would probably do the same. So
yeah, no, that's so funny. Paula, I have one final question I would love to ask you on this show.
Yes.
So the show's called Love That For You. So I want to know, what are you loving right now in life?
Okay, and I don't want this to sound promotional. Okay, but I am loving a meal delivery service that I tried, and I'm not paid by them. I'm not sponsored by them. I just started a friend of mine. This is how it happens in the real world. One of the girls, the moms, the other baseball moms that my son plays with, we were talking about like dinner is literally the bane of our existence. Not only making the choice of what we're going to have to eat, going out and shopping for it, everybody complaining about it, spending money, wasting food. Honestly, my husband and I, we fight about dinner more than anything else. I'm like, we'll never get divorced, but if we do, it's going to be because of dinner. Okay, who's cooking it? What are we having? So anyway, she's like, you got to try this meal delivery service. It's called HelloFresh.
Great.
It has literally changed our lives. So, and this is not
that.
a promotion. I'm not paid by them, nothing, although I would love to be. But I love it. It's changed our life. My kids are involved. So what I do is I let them pick the menu for whatever we're going to have. And we usually do like 3 meals a week, and they send you everything. So there's no waste. It's perfect proportions.
Yeah.
And then there's detailed instructions. So like my husband can no longer say, well, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, you know how to read, don't you? The instructions are right there. My kids are picking out the meals. They're making the meals with us.
That's perfect.
We're standing over the kitchen, like stove, talking about life when we're cooking. It's great variety. It's good food. It's literally taken so much of the mental juggle everything that a working mom feels has taken it off of my plate.
Yeah,
literally.
It's literally just delivered right to your door. I have tried it as well. I love it as well. Yeah,
I do. And and there's a lot of different services like that. My friends have tried some. So it's like, find the one that's right for you. But I will say, I'm spending less money on groceries. You know, it's like you spend $500 at Costco and you're like, oh, I don't have anything for dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy
So
how
like,
that happens?
it's literally the one of the things that weighs heavily on me. So it's taken that off of my plate. So
I love that for you.
That's thank you for loving that for me. And I'm also loving my drinks, my fountain drinks.
What is that?
I go to the local Spanx. Now, look, I live in a small town. It's like 2,300 people. We got a brand new Spanx, and I mean, they've got fried chicken. They have brand new fountain machines. Fountain drink machines, and I'm really into a fountain drink.
Is
like,
it the
I get
one
one
with
every
the big
day.
screen where you get to push?
Yes. No. Those are great too. This is a different one, and they say that they do something to their tubes, their fountain drink tubes. So like, I think like the Holy Spirit is literally flowing through the tubes, and
Won't he
does
do it?
something. Won't he do it? And I mean, it's the best fountain beverage that I have, and so I get one every single day. And I know people are like, it's so bad for you. I'm like, I gotta die somehow. No. So if it's a fountain drink, I'm sorry, I'm gonna die happy, y'all.
Here's what
I know where I'm going.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say, like, and we'll keep this, I know we gotta go, but one thing I have learned this past year is food is either good for your body or it's good for your soul. There's no such thing as bad food. There's food that's good for your body and food that's good for your soul. And what we need to do is like find that classification in moderation. We can eat a brownie if it's with friends, and that's a good soul food. Now, we don't need to eat as a meal, but putting their soul food,
we could.
So
we could eat a brownie as a meal.
We could, and I maybe did last night, but we don't need to talk about that. It's fine.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I love what you just said. It's good for your body or it's good for your soul.
That's right.
This is good for my soul.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
And again, remember, like, another name for your show or podcast could be You Gotta Die Somehow. So this, if it's fountain drinks or bacon, gotta die somehow. So it's okay.
Great. We can co-host that one together. Paula, you're awesome. Thank you so much for
Morgan.
coming on. This is great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks, dear.